Hello everybody, it's your boy Proftrof and we're back again with another video. Fuck. Green screen, hide. Whatever. We're back again with another video. 40k lore video by Majorkill, okay. Space sharks. I've wanted to see these dudes in a while and I keep forgetting, but not today. Not today.
G'day
Let's
guys and
check 'em
gal. Space Marine chapters in 40k often really like to lean on what their chapter is named after. Raven Guard have beaked helmets, Ultramarines are blue, and Imperial fists like fisting. But the Carcharodons, the space sharks, as I will now refer to them as to avoid the rage of greasy neckbeards who pull out their katanas and have a seizure every time I botch up a name pronunciation, take this to a whole nother level. They are literally sharks in every way, shape and form. Like you think space wolves are wolves because
In every way, do they still need water to survive though?
they have sharp teeth and violate chihuahuas. But then you see these guys and you're like, wow, I'm going to ring the shark alarm now because that's a shark. We have shark alarms in Australia, not sure if that's a common thing. As I'm working
What's a
hard
shark
on the
alarm?
upcoming Homebrew Adventures animated series, I don't have time to smash out lore videos at the moment. So thankfully, Sleepy Sack, a new lore channel for Warhammer, has stepped in to help me with this.
Hi everyone, Sleepy Sack here. I would like to give a massive, long, hard thank you to Majorkill for giving me this awesome opportunity to work with him. I'm quite new to the whole YouTube game, but I've been into 40k for years. I finally decided it was time to start creating videos for everyone to watch, and hopefully enjoy.
Sleepy Sack has shown a really great ability to edit
Nice.
videos way better than I ever could, so I appreciate him lending his expertise to this video. Link to his channel will be in the comments and description below, so if you enjoy this video, you'll probably enjoy his other ones as well. Today we'll discuss who the space sharks are and what their deal is. We'll also talk about exactly why they are literal sharks in space, as well as what they've been up to. Before we get started,
That does not look... What? That looks so...
space, as well as what they've been up to. Before we get started, do you long-term guys remember this video where a company reached out to me and wanted to do a collaboration with me on creating a novel, and I was like, sure, as long as I don't have to write the whole thing but I still make money, I'm in. Hence, I worked with over 40 of my fellow Warhammer nerds as well as Agreg to create Journeys Through Faladon, which now has a proper cover, website and is soon to be published. It's got all the fun parts of a fantasy setting and it's a great read. Book will be live on Amazon on the 29th of July, so a couple days from now. So if you're looking...
Faladon, a vast world filled with magic and wonder, from the sandy Savara desert to the lush Forgotten Isle, the human kingdom of Ravensburg, to the city of Venova, where many mythical creatures call home. Urbon, treasure-hungry raider of the western seas, unwillingly finds himself chosen as a champion by Biaro, the rune axe of legend. Stepping forth on quest he never asked for, is Urbon truly the one to vanquish the approaching darkness? Or could the legendary axe be mistaken, dooming Faladon to its fated destruction? I mean, it seems interesting.
for
Pretty
something
generic
new yet
fantasy, but
familiar,
could be
like
cool.
our much beloved
Has
deceased
anyone read it?
Warhammer fantasy, then there you go. Let's get into it. 10,000 years before the Necrons were awakening, before the Tower were being uppity weebs, and before the Elder were so screwed that their final solution to all their problems was attempt to awaken the god of death, an oiled, muscly man with long flowing hair and extreme thrusting power lived on Earth. He spent his days frolicking with maidens, tending the fields, and preparing for galactic domination. Ha! You thought I was talking about Jesus for a second there, didn't you? Well, checkmate Christians, because I'm talking about the real Messiah, the God Emperor of mankind. This man, the Big E,
I don't think Jesus was allowed to frolic with a woman.
knew that the galaxy was a big scary
Look
place,
at his disciples. Do you see a woman in there, huh?
and that
I ain't
nothing
saying
short of an
Jesus
army
might
of
be.
demigod super soldiers would cut it. Hence, he created 20 legions of demigod super soldiers with an even more powerful super soldier leading
Damn.
each legion called
Jeez.
a Primarch. Tell him what those legions did, Sleepy.
Well, if humanity was to survive against the endless threats posed by the forces of chaos, Xenos races, and even its own fragile nature, then a great deal of change was needed. With his new legions of super soldiers, the Emperor formulated a plan to bring errant worlds to imperial compliance, uniting them all under a single banner. This was known as the Great Crusade and was considered by many as the golden age of the Imperium. It acted as a catalyst which propelled humanity forwards, allowing them to unite and rebuild. Radical advancements in weapons technology were made, allowing the Space Marine legions to be equipped with the tools befitting the Emperor's finest. The Space Marine legions would form the core of the Emperor's mighty armies, supported by vast garrisons of Imperial Guard. These combined forces swept across the galaxy, conquering planet after planet, all under direct command of the Emperor himself.
The Big
After
Daddy.
achieving victory against the Orcs during the Ulnar Crusade, the Emperor returned to Terra to begin work on his next project. He bestowed the title of Imperial War Master upon Horus, the Primarch of the Lunar Wolves, giving him full command over the entirety of the Great Crusade, including all of his brother Primarchs and their
Mistakes were made.
vast legions of Space Marines.
This was going well until Horus thought it would be a good idea to sell his soul to the forces of hell and damn the galaxy to a war that mankind would never ever recover from. As a result of this, a lot of people died, including our glorious Hawkboy as well as the Bold Man himself. The Emperor ended up so disabled that he would make Stephen Hawking look like an Olympic pole vaulter as well. Gilliman, the only Primarch left who had any common sense, broke up the Space Marine legions into 1,000-man strong chapters to distribute the power of the Imperium more, so that no one man would ever hold the power of a Space Marine legion ever again. Over 10,000
And then he decided to clap some alien cheeks.
years of dividing chapters, creating new
a
successor
flaming
ones,
sword.
experimenting with gene
Why
seed,
not?
and warp spaghetti, we ended up with a few really weird chapters. Some of their weirdness can be explained by
few?
heresy, such as the Minotaurs being Iron Warrior successors, or the Blood Ravens being Thousand Sun successors, but for the Space Sharks, it's still a bit of a mystery. The most prevalent theory is that Korax fucked a shark at some point, as the Space Sharks share a lot of similarities with the Raven Guard, such as being quiet little goth kids with black eyes. However, the fact that they are also sharks in power armor means that can't all be there is to it. The truth behind their origins is complicated and pretty irrelevant. It seems that they are exiled Raven Guard with gene seed mutations which make them sharky. They also seem to steal Night Lord's gene seed, hence making them somewhat hybrid, whilst also helping explain their intense love of blood and violence. To explain a space shark, we should first explain a shark. Sleepy Sack, take it away.
What the hell do you mean? Please tell me they do not bite their enemies.
Somewhat hybrid, whilst also helping explain their intense love of blood and violence. To explain a space shark, we should first explain a shark.
Okay.
Sleepy Sack, take it away.
A shark is a formidable predator, capable of rousing fear and awe like no other creature in the sea. Sharks have evolved into swift and deadly killing machines, with mouths lined in multiple rows of serrated, spear-like teeth. When hunting, sharks specialize in lurking in the dark void of the ocean, ready to launch a vicious surprise attack on their prey, mercilessly tearing them to shreds with rows of razor-sharp teeth. When in large groups, sharks have been known to attack their prey in wild feeding frenzies, sometimes even attacking their own in the blood-crazed mayhem. The scent of freshly spilled blood only serves to amplify the intensity of their attacks.
That description is interchangeable with any shark, in space or not. Let me give you some examples.
Okay.
The space sharks reside as a roaming fleet in the deepest
What am I
void of
looking at?
space, far from the Emperor's light, where they massacre threats to the Imperium many years before they would even be detected. They do not relish in ornaments or their ego, as they wear plain, ancient patchwork power armor. They rarely ever see the
That's pretty
Imperium
cool.
or the Mechanicus. They have to repair and maintain their own equipment, some of which is dated back to the Horus Heresy. To recruit, they have something known as the Red Teeth, where they basically rock up to an Imperial world, kidnap all their prisoners, and try to turn them into space sharks, with the success rate being super.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be a lot worse when he said they just rock up to an Imperial world. I thought it was gonna be something a lot worse, but nah, it's the prisoners, it's okay.
Low, and the mortality rate being super high.
Which means
Isn't that the same with every single space? I gotta be honest with you. Like, every time we've watched a video about Space Marine chapter lore, it's always like this. Their initiation is so dangerous, mortality is super high, then they begin to describe it and it's like the most awful thing in the world. They're like, yeah, it's one of the worst initiations ever. And that's every initiation into a Space Marine chapter. I don't think there is one decent one.
Majorkill, isn't turning criminals into Astartes a really bad idea? The Night Lords did this and they became massive douchebags.
Shut your stupid retard mouth, Timmy, before I put raw fish in your underpants and unleash the space sharks upon you. The Night Lords were the result of giving cringy edgelord teens in juvie godlike weapons and powers, with no discipline or stability. The space sharks are a result of the same type of kids being scared straight by giant disciplined sharks with cold dead eyes. The super high mortality rate of the initiates into the sharks also generally means none of the pathetic ones get through anyway. Then there's the Grey Teeth, which is when the space sharks encounter a forge world and give them super old technology and also other random shit floating around deep in the void of space in exchange for new guns and toys. With these new guns, or should I say projectile melee weapons as the sharks old technology and also other rank, which is when the so generally means none of the pathetic ones get through anyway. Then there's the Grey Teeth, which is when the space sharks encounter a forge world and give them super old technology and also other random shit floating around deep in the void of space in exchange for new guns and toys. With these new guns, or should I say projectile melee weapons as the sharks prefer to be able to smell their enemies from 3 meters away as they blow them apart, the sharks do some serious damage. The space sharks were forgotten by the galaxy for thousands of years, as you know, there's a lot going on, so when a Space Marine chapter who was never chatty in the first place goes off in to live in Whoop Whoop, the Imperium wasn't too bothered with keeping track. Despite this, the space sharks would periodically return when the Imperium needed them to. Each time, no one was sure what side they were on, as they would arrive, massacre everyone with a tentacle or horn, and then return back to the darkness. They returned for Abaddon's 7th Black Crusade as the Blood Angels were getting clapped. The space sharks appeared out of nowhere and promptly embarrassed both the Cornite Berserkers as well as the Blood Angels, two groups known for their melee savagery, as the space sharks completely emascerated the anal cavities of the Black Legion.
What is that? What am I even looking at? What is on the powder? What is this?
Completely emascerated the anal
He has
cavities
a nice
of the Black
horde.
Legion.
A couple of
After
them.
the battle, the space sharks vanished and the Blood Angels had statues and honours erected for them, as no one knew who the space sharks were and just described it as if a large predatory beast had come and molested Abaddon. Now we all know the Night Lords like picking on weaker enemies and undefended worlds, because you know, they're a bunch of pussies. Hence,
True.
they got the surprise of their life when they begun pillaging the Imperial world, which was also coincidentally the target of the space shark's next red teeth. Well, needless to say, in the animal kingdom, a shark would beat a bat. Hence, the Night Lords felt fear as they were massacred, their leader killed, and their pillage ruined.
When in combat, the space sharks love getting stuck into a fight.
And we know how good Tower in melee combat, huh?
Out of all the Space Marine chapters, the space shark assaults are often the bloodiest. They carve their way through opponents wielding howling adamantium-toothed weaponry. Due to their shark-like characteristics, they prefer weapons lined with rotating teeth, such as chainswords and chain axes. Even bolter weapons are adapted to fit small rotary saws. These particular close combat weapons allow the space sharks to inflict a savage amount of bloodshed upon their enemies.
Now all good chapters are riddled with heresy, and the space sharks are no different.
Why are they drinking tea?
In the void, there isn't a whole lot other than
Like
darkness
that.
and Tyranids. The space sharks destroyed countless splinter fleets, but knew they had to crush the nearby Gene Stealer cult to stop them from signaling out even more Tyranids.
Okay.
To do this, they called in an ancient favour from the Ashen Claws, a renegade chapter and enemy of the Imperium. With the favour called, they arrived at the heavily infested planet, which was a shrine world, and told everyone they weren't allowed to pray anymore. Now, telling a Gene Stealer infected shrine world that they aren't allowed to pray is like telling an American to wear a mask. It's just not going to go down peacefully. Fortunately for the space sharks,
Storm the
peace
capital.
was never an option.
Baal Shah, captain of the Space Sharks' Third Company, led a vicious assault against the countless hordes of Gene Stealers, but his forces were quickly overrun, surrounded on all sides by the seemingly endless tide of rending claws. The streets began to run red with blood and violence, and the members of the Third Company began to fall, one by one. The Space Sharks made a desperate last stand inside the stone walls of a nearby cathedral. However, the battle had gone according to plan. Baal Shah called forth the fury of the First Company, the veteran Terminator squads, supported by an ancient Contemptor pattern dreadnought. These heavily armoured warriors plunged into the fray, shredding apart the foul inhuman creatures with hails of bolter fire and lashes of close combat attacks. This powerful counterattack made short work of the Genestealers surrounding the cathedral. However, more and more swarmed the area by the minute.
Now, I'm not big on exterminatuses, but when an entire planet is full of Genestealers, it's really not the worst option.
True.
The space sharks are not one to ruin a good fight though, so they relish the opportunity to wreck some noobs. Eventually, so many Genestealers died so quickly that the Genestealer Patriarch emerged, and was put down just as quickly.
The fuck
Even
is
with the
that?
Patriarch dead, there were still millions of angry Genestealers, hence it was only the arrival of the Ashen Claws was the four-armed freaks finally put down for good. By the time the Imperial forces arrived, the Ashen Claws and Space Sharks were long gone, and the planet was a smoking ruin full of dead Genestealers. Basically a fun melee version of an exterminatus. The Space Sharks have featured pretty heavily in recent times, as they distinguished themselves in the Badab War.
That's the big boy, right? I know him because of the weird melee weapons he has. The one that's bigger than big people.
Imperial Civil War between Astartes
Accurate
chapters.
description.
Help me out with this one, Sleepy.
The Space Sharks' first involvement in the Badab War began as their strike cruisers arrived to bolster the Loyalist cause against the civil uprising. They were initially unrecognised by many of the Loyalist forces, as their operational activities had always remained shrouded in mystery.
Space lobsters? Is that another chapter we have not heard about? The lobster people?
They were eventually accepted into the battle lines after cautious investigations of their intentions. The Space Sharks were deployed to a territory controlled by the Mantis warriors in the Endymion cluster. Their mission was simple: the complete destruction of any planet within the cluster that was known to contain forces of Mantis warriors. This brutal action drew the Mantis warriors out, forcing them to abandon their hit-and-run tactics and return to protect their worlds from further casualties. Another notable contribution of the Space Sharks took place on Badab Primaris, during the final battle of the Badab War. The planet was the homeworld of the renegade Astral Claws chapter. The powerful atomic and geothermal reactors which provided power to the colossal hive cities and planetary defense guns on Badab Primaris were identified as a prime target. The Space Sharks sent in incursion forces who successfully sabotaged the reactors. The resulting catastrophic explosion shook the very foundations of the planet. Shockwaves radiated through the tectonic plates, opening up vast chasms that engulfed entire sections of the city. Plumes of molten lava began to spew from the surface as the entire planet collapsed on itself.
Wait,
Following this,
the planet collapsed on it. Jesus!
Space Shark's fleet returned to the Endymion cluster to harvest new recruits to replace those that had fallen in the bloody conflicts. After receiving their payment in blood, they departed back into the darkness of the outer void.
Now you might be like, Majorkill, I'm still not convinced these guys are
That
genuine.
looks so weird. I mean, it looks kinda cool, I guess. With the shark helmet thing. Whoa, how does he protect the face though?
Sharks.
Do they have Psyker? Is it a Psyker?
Well, let me finally put your concerns to rest. Space Shark Librarians have two special unique abilities.
Okay.
One is called From the Depths, where they flood their enemy's mind with the sensation of drowning, and the other one is called Rending Maw, where they summon an avatar of a shark to kill their enemies. As Space Sharks age, their skin turns grey and rubbery, like a shark. They also progressively get demented, being uptight, merciless, and eventually so antisocial that they basically just wander off by themselves and kill bad guys until they die. Like a shark. So, not as bad as
I don't think sharks do that, brother. I don't think an old shark just goes out to kill things until it dies. I don't know though.
Nor a furry, but still not super high on the Idealio scale. The Space Sharks are also incredibly silent yet violent. The kind of guy to sneak up on you, and instead of breaking your neck or choking you, they instantly give away their element of surprise by performing a Mortal Kombat fatality on you that may or may not involve you getting bitten. Just like
A
shark. Their preferences for travelling through the void is also a reference to a shark travelling in deep waters. The only chapter I can think of that displays this level of ruthlessness and efficient hunting and killing are the Retributors from Astartes, which a lot of you guys drew comparisons with on my Retributors video. They wear unmarked basic armor, don't autistically screech before charging at the enemy, and they get shit done.
But they don't have
I made a
shark
point recently
helmets.
that having the Minotaurs on your bad side was one of the worst things that could happen to you in the entire galaxy, but I genuinely believe having the Space Sharks against you might be even worse. You'll see the Minotaurs coming from a mile off. You'll know exactly the moment that Astarion Malok shoves his spear up your ass. For the Space Sharks, you'll live in fear, never knowing when they will arrive until the day they are in front of you, for the split second before you're torn in half. Overall, another dope-ass chapter that shows why there are a lot of people that think loyalists are way cooler than traitors. And that does us for today.
Of course they are. What? Come on, buddy.
Hey guys, the lore, origins, and sharkiness of the Space Sharks. Massive thank you
Damn.
to Sleepy Sack. Without him, this video would not be possible, as I literally don't have the time to make it with the animation in full swing. So him editing this video is a massive favour to me and you guys.
No problem, Majorkill. And I would just like to say thank you again for giving me this awesome opportunity to appear on the channel. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have too. Thank you.
Make
That was
sure you
cool,
check him out,
brother.
guys. The more people making lore videos equals more lore nerds. If you enjoyed the video, want to support the
True.
channel, and love boobs, then Patreon is the place to be. Only $1 gives you access
Oh.
to a perverted gold mine, and $10 gives you access to the Majorkill hentai calendar. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more animalistic content. Join the
Damn.
Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
So space sharks are sharks in space that fuck up everything and just go away when there is nothing else to fuck up. Cool. I gotta be honest, I haven't heard much about space sharks besides the big dude. That's pretty much all we've heard about space sharks from other videos and stuff. Anyway, that was cool. That was awesome. We know more about marine chapters. We should probably check out the Minotaurs next. I don't know much about them. I don't think I've seen them. Yeah, Minotaur probably next. Anyway, quick thank you to YouTube members and Patreons. Pedro Martinez, Command_Unit, Swasteric, Fewest Chicken 53, Senior Hilton, Lemon Moon, Aikma, Dash, Ronic, Now, James Bzionat, Turge, Hideki 25, Michael Museo, Nicole Girgiev, Shadi, Leroy, and Olivia. Thank you all for the support, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye.